Welcome to my channel. This is the Diamond Chrysalis, aka Divested Diamonds. This is divestment with purpose, and you have arrived. Greetings and salutations, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for being here today. Please do me a favor and click the like button as you watch this video. Thank you kindly. Well, Happy New Year, ladies. I know we're only a few days in, but I hope that 2025 is off to a great start. My message to everyone is, let's continue to focus on ourselves and do whatever we can to thrive, be productive, and happy. Most of all, let's aim to find peace in our lives. Onwards and upwards. Now, we have a lot to discuss, so let's get started. In today's premiere, we're going to talk about one of the many reasons a lot of Black women keep losing when it comes to the art of self-preservation. As most of you know, this is a divestment channel, and part of being a divested woman is mastering the art of self-preservation. Now, just because we live this lifestyle doesn't mean that there aren't people out there, outside forces, who may pose a threat to that which we've built for ourselves. There are certain problems that will affect you as a woman, things that are out of your control, simply based on your sex, divested or not. You know, something that never ceases to amaze me as a melanated woman is listening to or watching other Black women advocate for their own demise. A little while ago, I came across a video of Aina. Now, she needs no introduction. A lot of you ladies know who she is. But anyway, Jackie was caping for a community that, if you ask me and most other women, this community is doing everything in its power to erase what it means to be a woman. Now, before you throw your cape on to defend yours truly, please understand this. Before anything else, I'm female first. When I wake up in the morning, I'm female first. When I take my shower, I'm female first. When I curl on my bed due to intense pain from premenstrual dysphoric disorder, aka PMDD, I'm female first. Every time I leave my home to face the world, I'm female first. Every trip I make to see my gynecologist about a pap smear or other issues, I'm female first. I'm female no matter what I do. I'm a woman no matter what I do. I'm an adult human female every single day of my life. When it comes to what I do on this platform, women and girls will always come first. I cannot and will not sit here and fight for a group of people whose biology differs from mine, especially in situations where I'm being ordered to ignore their nature as males for fear of being labeled some kind of phobic. Oh, no. We're not playing those games. We're way past that. You must be crazy if you think that you can come to my channel and try to bully me into accepting people's mental illness and lack of self-acceptance as fact. You will not pee on my leg and expect me to believe it's raining. I will not sit here and allow someone or multiple people to bully me into silence for speaking the truth when what's being pushed is false and of no value to the female sex. So I say this to say, if facts bother you so much, please understand that over here, you will not be pacified or breastfed to soothe your hurt feelings. Without further ado, let's take a listen.
I'm a cisgendered heterosexual woman, and I'm trying to figure out when in the hell did transphobia become so normalized. It is deeply concerning. And before you ask, Jackie, if it doesn't apply, why do you care? Newsflash, bud, I don't have to be directly impacted by someone else's marginalization in order to care about that. Isn't that shocking? That's crazy. That's crazy. It's called having a pulse. Let's just talk about the first thing. The word cisgendered is not an insult. Trans women are by no means in any way a threat to my womanhood. I don't want this video to feel like a confrontation for other cisgendered women, because sometimes I think it's just misdirected anger, but the stuff that I see lately has gotten a little too normalized. Trans women are women, whether you like it or not. Their experiences and their womanhood don't devalue yours at all. If your womanhood is threatened by another woman's existence, it's time to evaluate some other things. If you gotta be transphobic to be that girl, then maybe you're just not that girl, okay? Stop it. It's too much. I'm tired. And I'll see these crazy videos on my timeline and all of the thousands of comments. And I would absolutely not want to see another generation of women become radicalized. We used to name and shame people who felt comfortable being openly transphobic. What the hell happened? I am well aware that as a Black woman, I cannot save everyone. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell anybody else that's in a marginalized group that you gotta save everybody too. What I will say is you will absolutely never see me participating in rhetoric and harmful messaging that makes it harder for trans people. Ever, 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 Tiffany.
Ever, 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 Tiffany. Ever in a million years.
Because the stuff that y'all are saying is not even, the points are not being made. The threats that people think exist at our womanhood are just not coming from trans people. They're just not. And remember, ladies, if they not free, they being trans women, we won't be either. Like we gotta look at history, guys. I'm getting a little spooked. It's getting weird. Okay, well, glad we had that chat. Stay classy, ladies.
You know, you can shame people into accepting something that isn't true. We all know what the truth is, and we aren't playing this game. Now look, I understand that Jackie is an OG in the beauty influencer space, and good for her. Congratulations to her for all that she has achieved. It's always nice to see Black women doing good, whatever they choose to do. But this is BS. We're not going to sit here and pretend that males can be women and vice versa. In order for you to be a woman, you have to be female first. Like, stop the madness. I don't understand why certain Black women in particular feel it's their duty and responsibility to mammy for everyone. Women have spent the majority of their existence being subjugated by males. In an act of gaslighting, we were led to believe that things had changed after women had taken to the streets for many years, asking and begging to be treated with some level of respect as fellow human beings, asking for equal rights, which was misinterpreted by the low IQ males as women wanting to be exactly like the males in every sense of the word. Another misconception that keeps being used to spite women today. But I digress. Women have fought to simply be recognized as human beings who are capable of making normal, adult human decisions. Unfortunately, some of these males are too dense to understand why it is that feminism exists, or why it was a necessary tool for women in the first place. They've bastardized the term to mean some kind of hatred for men by labeling it anti-male when it's far from what it really stands for. Most women don't want your problems. They don't want to be you. Majority of women only want the chance to exist on their own accord and in their nature as women. This has nothing to do with competition. Real women do not want to compete with men. Those of us who have our heads screwed on correctly already know that men and women are different, and that's okay. But here's the thing. It's not up to men to dictate what a woman's life should look like. Do you see women foaming at the mouth, trying to tell men who they need to be and how they need to live their lives in random situations? Of course not. So imagine the horror when women came to realize that all that fighting, all that work that they had put in to be recognized as individual human beings was all for nothing. Once again, we're faced with a dilemma of having to fight for our rights all over again. We have males trying to redefine what a woman is and attempting to subjugate us all over again. And the sad part of this is that you have women, actual women, real women that are more than happy helping them in this ridiculous nonsense. And for what? A pat on the back for a job well done? Like seriously? Why are women helping in this recolonization of the female sex? And see, sometimes I truly believe that a lot of these women who are on board with this nonsense really don't understand the magnitude of what they're truly supporting. A lot of these women have no idea what's at play here, because the current climate, as well as history, will tell you that anytime men have had the upper hand, which is the majority of the time, anytime men have had the chance to rob women of their bodily autonomy, they've done it with pride and unapologetically. They never stop until they get what they want. You know, it's one thing if a male believes that they're a woman while living their life privately as such, but it's also quite another when women's spaces are slowly being invaded, becoming obsolete, and laws are being changed to accommodate the fetishes of males. Males who engage in acts of autogynephilia. Now, I've talked about this before in a previous video, so let me just refresh your minds on what it means. Autogynephilia is defined as a male's propensity to be sexually aroused by the thought of himself as a female. It is the paraphilia that is theorized to underlie transvestism and some forms of male to female transsexualism. So, to be brutally honest here, this is not something normal. It can also be categorized as a form of gender dysphoria. So, these are not sound-minded people we're dealing with. You know, women shouldn't have to have their rights retracted for a bunch of males who can't accept themselves for who they really are. And I've heard the argument, well, you just don't want, quote-unquote, trans women to exist. On the contrary, exist as much as you like. Knock yourself out. On an ordinary day, women don't really care about that. Nobody cares about that. You can exist in whatever capacity you want, as long as, and yes, there are conditions to this, as long as that doesn't impede on another group's existence. The issue here is that it does. That's where the problem is. The fact that in some places, birth certificates are being changed to signify your chosen sex is absolutely wild. Sex is immutable. And by sex, of course, I mean what makes you male and what makes you female. Can we agree on that? Or do you just want to be problematic as usual? And changing your identification to say otherwise is nothing short of a lie. It's a slippery slope. It's oh so very dangerous to women because it grants you access to women's vulnerable spaces. Spaces you shouldn't be in based on your biological sex. You know, the real one. And here's the thing. Initially, there were a lot of women who were willing to accept you and give you the benefit of the doubt. That support started to decline when you all thought it was a good idea to start indoctrinating children with this disease of madness, telling children that they could identify as whatever they wanted and keeping that secret from their parents. You don't have the right to do that. A lot of you were online bragging about this indoctrination, and that was out of order. Did you really think that people would put up with that nonsense forever? You crossed so many lines. And then there was the bathroom issue where a lot of you felt you could just walk into women's bathrooms where vulnerable women and children were. And that was supposed to be accepted? This is currently going on as we speak. And let's not forget the prison system. A lot of you ex-wives found a very convenient loophole to transfer into women's prisons because all of a sudden you identified as women. The rest of us real women were just supposed to, what? Suck it up and just accept it? No pushback? This is insane. You do realize that, right? This is clown world. We've all seen what happens in those instances, have we not? We've had rapists transitioning at the last minute just so they could get a chance to do it again in female prisons. A while ago, I did a video about some dude named Adam Graham who goes by the name Isla Bryson. This individual, this male, had raped 2 women in Scotland. The first rape was in 2016, and the second one was in 2019. This individual was supposed to go to a male prison, but guess what? He decided to transition at the last minute. All of a sudden, he was quote unquote a woman, right? And even though the public were told that this male wouldn't be put in a female prison, guess what happened? Oh, it's only male privilege. He got sent to a female prison. He transitioned at the last minute just so he could be sent to a female prison. Shocker. Adam Graham, aka Isla Bryson, also claimed to be the victim of a hate crime after being called, wait for it, quote unquote, son by a prison guard. This is the level of comfort that these males have been gifted by other males. I mean, let's be honest here. It's not the majority of women who are passing these laws. It's mostly men. This is the privilege and audacity that our governments have given to these individuals. And here's the kicker. The prison responsible for housing this ex-wife was forced to apologize to him for, quote unquote, misgendering. Does any of this seem right? Does any of this make sense to any of you? Forget the women he raped, right? His clown world delusion of how he views himself is much more important than the women he violated. Therefore, people need to bow down to him and respect his pronouns. There it is again, that male privilege. This is the world we're living in today. Clown world insanity. And how about this dude over here in the US who had the audacity to demand that his pronouns be respected? Huh? Sir, you're a rapist, a criminal, with a peen between your legs, a peen that you have used to do heinous crimes with. And you think because you identify as a woman that your rights should be respected? Your pronouns should be respected? Sir, where was your respect when you took those women's bodily autonomy and all of their rights to consent? Let's take a listen to the following.
Thank you, Kevin. A controversial court ruling tonight. A convicted criminal who served time at the women's prison in Chowchilla is charged with raping fellow inmates. A Madera County judge says Tremaine Carroll must be referred to with she, her pronouns. But the district attorney is pushing back because the 52-year-old Carroll is a biological male and the decision could impact the pursuit of justice. Court records show Carroll was convicted in Los Angeles County in 1993 for aggravated kidnapping for the purpose of ransom or to commit another crime. Carroll is now serving time in a men's prison as this rape case moves forward.
Action News reporter Brianna Willis spoke with the district attorney about the potential impact of the pronoun ruling.
A Madera County judge ruled this week 52-year-old state prisoner Tremaine Carroll must be referred to with she, her pronouns because Carroll identifies as a woman. But the district attorney believes the defendant is abusing the system.
This is a person who's not a woman in any sense of the word.
In March, DA Sally Moreno charged Carroll for rape allegedly committed while incarcerated at the Central California Women's Facility in Chowchilla.
After his first cellmate became pregnant and was moved to Los Angeles, two other cellmates of his complained that he had raped them. So we have filed rape charges against this inmate.
Moreno says the ruling regarding pronouns impacts her ability to prosecute the case.
This is a particular issue in this case because it's confusing to the jury. In California, rape is a crime that has to be accomplished by a man.
Supervising Deputy DA Eric Dutemple says it's also unfair to the victims.
It's just absolutely insane that a victim would have to get on the stand and police their pronouns and their usage when trying to recite one of the most scariest times in their lives.
Carroll was allowed to serve time in a women's prison despite being a biological male because of Senate Bill 132, the Transgender Respect Agency and Dignity Act, which took effect in 2021. It allows inmates to be housed with the gender they identify as. The CDCR website points out state law prohibits discrimination based on gender identity.
There's no psychological evaluation that needs to be done. This person doesn't need to be on cross-gender hormones. They don't need to be signed up for transgender surgery. They don't even need a significant psychological evaluation regarding gender confusion. The mere statement is enough.
The CDCR has since relocated Carroll to Salinas Valley State Prison for men. We reached out to CDCR about the case. They sent us a statement about Senate Bill 132, adding that they thoroughly investigate all allegations of sexual abuse, but they do not comment on cases in current litigation. Moreno says Carroll fired the defense attorney handling the case and has chosen to move forward with self-representation in court. Carroll's next court date is set for January 14th. Brianna Willis, ABC 30 Action News.
And before some of you SJWs jump into the comments section to let me know how, it's only a small percentage of people who behave this way, you're wrong. This happens a lot more than it should. I mean, it shouldn't happen at all, but it does. Because we're dealing with a protected group of individuals here, these stories are buried. The only place you're guaranteed to see a lot of these stories is Redux.com. I'll leave the link in the description bar below. But anyway, a lot of these stories are buried. Want to know why? I made the mistake. Well, perhaps not. Of going down this rabbit hole just to see who was behind all of this. And my. It was corporation after corporation. The backing, the funding for these people is astronomical. As I kept digging, there was a corporation that kept coming up over and over and over again. I can't say which one it was. YouTube. Plus, I don't want to get sued. But anyway, I soon came to realize that not only are they pushing agendas, there's a lot of money to be made here. There's a reason that they keep pushing all of this nonsense to your children. But I'll leave it there. We're on YouTube. So anyway, back to these individuals. The majority of them behave this way because we live in an upside-down world that doesn't care about the rights and bodily autonomy of women. Even when they claim to be, quote-unquote, women, they still act as their default setting, which is male. They stay true to who they really are naturally. Don't even get me started on the issue of female sports. Women are being punched in the face by males and losing money and scholarships to biological males who identify as, quote-unquote, women. Do you really expect us to believe and accept that men can be women when all of their behavior points right back to male nature? A lot of these males are aggressive, ego-driven, entitled, manipulative, and gaslighting at best.
An Algerian women's boxer who was previously banned from competing because she failed testosterone and gender eligibility tests has won her opening Olympic fight after her opponent quit within just 46 seconds. Italy's Angela Carini could only take 2 punches from Algeria's Imane Khelif before the blows appeared to knock off the Italian boxer's chin strap, with the Italian then backing off into her corner. Carini then returned to the center of the ring and abandoned the bout, leading to Khelif being declared as the winner. The Italian refused to shake Khelif's hand after the decision was announced and dropped to her knees before being seen crying in the ring.
So, for someone like Jackie Aina to sit here and minimize the danger that this community poses to women is very disingenuous. This is more than just bathrooms. She's basically choosing to be willfully obtuse. I know that their support means a lot to her, especially in the beauty industry, because there are a lot of them cosplaying as women, telling real women how they feel like women too, while demanding full access to our sex-based spaces. It's insane. And I don't want to hear about how some women have penises, testes, prostate, and all of that nonsense. That's just pure insanity. That is clown world madness. But like I always say, most men will cover up, tolerate, and accept each other's degeneracy. The question is, why would any woman assume that very mindset? They keep preaching to women about empathy and respect towards these individuals. But where's their respect for women? Why must women always give up their spaces to accommodate biological males? Why are women always being told to compromise? Would you call it a woman's space if the others were allowed in? If sex-based spaces don't exist exclusively for those born with XX chromosomes, aren't we being erased by the very people who've always subjugated us? Jackie Aina also said that if they are not free, meaning trans women, we won't be either. Like, seriously? You do realize that trans women are male and women are female, right? When women were fighting for equal rights, was that not males who were subjugating women? And who says women are free? We've been living under the illusion of freedom, and we've all seen how quickly those quote-unquote freedoms can be taken away when the patriarchy feels that women aren't complying as they should. Have we not? Why must women have to comply and compromise and allow men to redefine what a woman is? Everybody knows what a man is. No one's trying to redefine that. Why is womanhood up for debate? Why is womanhood a gray area? Our quote-unquote rights are being chipped away, and biological males are acting as they always have. Apathetic. They don't care. They will get whatever they want by any means necessary, And if that means sacrificing you in the process, then so be it. Have we not learned anything? And here's the thing, you will take it with a smile on your face. And if you don't like it, you're a bigot and a T-phobe. Is this what some of you women want? What will it take for female supporters of this community to realize that sharing intimate spaces with biological males and normalizing it also means our sex-based spaces will no longer be available exclusively for women? If you can just shapeshift from one sex to another and assume the stereotypical identity of the opposite sex, how many lines will have to be blurred and crossed in order for women, actual women, to understand that this is a dangerous path to be on? If women choose to continue playing this game, eventually they will F around and find out. Women are not obliged to support diversity at the risk of their own security. Women are not a monolith, and we know that for a fact. But also, there aren't different types of women when it comes to biological facts. There's only one type, and you have to be born with XX chromosomes. And as far as, quote unquote, feeling like a woman goes, you can't feel like something you've never been because you don't know what it's like to be the other thing. So, all you women out there, all you Jackie Ainas who support the erasure of women, shame on you. Seriously, shame on you. Now look, I don't care if you're doing this to be extra popular. I don't care if you're doing this for the approval of this community. I do not care if you have some sort of misplaced love and empathy for males who disregard all that we stand for as women. You're wrong for this. You are on the wrong side of history, and eventually you will learn. But for your sake, as well as everybody else's, I hope it won't be at the hands of the very men you're trying to protect. Anyone with half a brain knows that there is no Y in female. And you're a traitor to your own kind for choosing clout over the safety and rights of biological women. Now, let's circle back to Jackie's video where she goes on to say that cisgendered is not an insult. Well, Jackie, a lot of women consider it an insult because it's offensive. It's the othering of real women that a lot of us take issue with. I think a lot of you women need to be reminded that so-called trans women are guests in our spaces, albeit uninvited, but they're guests nonetheless. Uninvited guests. What they've done is push their way in with a laundry list of demands for the rest of us to follow on how they'd like to be treated and addressed. And for the most part, it's been honored by mostly women such as yourself, Jackie, and those of you who feel and believe this thing. So with that in mind, what's wrong with a woman saying, actually, don't call me cis because I simply don't like it. Just call me a woman. Where's the honor and respect for that request? Normally, when that's verbalized, what we usually get are explanations and definitions for what it means, all the while ignoring the fact that you don't like it and prefer not to be called that. There's never any consideration whatsoever. And here's the thing, respect is a two-way street. You can't demand respect and expect to get it when you don't know how to give it back. And you can say whatever you want. Cis, in my opinion, is a slur. If you don't mind being called that, good for you. But the rest of us don't have to accept tolerate, or even get used to it. No. No means no. I don't care what it means. I know what it means. I just don't like it. And that's my prerogative. Why do I have to take on a prefix to make an intruder comfortable, assuming my genetic image and representation in my own space? Why am I expected to play the game of pretend when everybody knows what the truth is? Why do any of us have to participate in other people's delusions in order for something to look, seem, or even sound quote-unquote phobic? The truth normally has to be present. And if we're being brutally honest here, that is where the issue is. In a lot of cases, it's not that people are being transphobic. They're just tired of having their lives disrupted to cater to a group of people who are constantly seeking attention, and not in a good way. Whatever happens in that community, unfortunately, affects everybody else, especially women, mostly women. At this point, we just want our lives back. And you see, this has nothing to do with being insecure or, as you put it, a threat to womanhood, because this is much more nuanced and there are layers to this conversation. This is not a competition. It never was. In any case, you can't compete where you don't compare. This is about the rights, respect, boundaries, and safety of women. And by women, I mean adult human females. Women should not be in charge of providing, quote-unquote, safe spaces for adult males. What sense does that make? Who's providing these, quote-unquote, safe spaces for women? In most cases, when women are in trouble in terms of safety, it's males they need protection from, is it not? So what are we talking about here? When I say I'm pro-woman and girls, I mean just that. I represent Team XX because she's the original and only woman I will ever acknowledge and accept. That's it, and that's all. On that note, what are your thoughts on what's been discussed here today? Please leave your thoughts and comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. This is the Diamond Chrysalis. You've been watching XX Activated. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and stay connected to your true female nature. Remember, ladies, there is no Y in female. Bye, diamonds.